Hi, I am Kristen Jordan Koenig, GIS developer with the Kansas Geological Survey, and this video will demonstrate some of the tools in the new mappers. The new mappers are the oil and gas mapper and the water well mapper, and today we will be demonstrating the tools in the oil and gas mapper, but they work the same in the water well mapper also. First of all, we have our display tab on the left-hand side. And any layers that are grayed out, you need to zoom in further to be able to have those layers appear. We have some features here of turning things on and off. For example, if you check a box, it turns the layer on. If you uncheck the box, it turns it off. With the 6 buttons on the side, you can reorder layers. I'm also going to demonstrate you can expand various layers to see more options. So for example, other wells and energy data. Let's say we want to explore class 2 wells, check that so they appear. But we want to see that in concert with our other oil and gas wells. As we zoom in, you can see all of a sudden the class 2 wells are more difficult to see. You can drag and drop the 6 buttons on the side to put the class 2 wells on top of the oil and gas wells, thus make them easier to see. We also have the ability to increase and decrease transparency. So for example, we will start working with our imagery, but if you want to see more of the base map underneath, you can click the 3 dots on the right side and say increase transparency, and you'll see that the imagery lightens and you can begin to see some of the base map features underneath. With the map itself, we have various navigation tools. Up in the upper right or left-hand corner of the map, we have a zoom out and zoom in. We also have the home button, which brings us back out to the full extent of the state of Kansas. And for those mobile users, this button will zoom you to your specific location. So if you're out in the field and you need to find your location, this is the button to use. Down in the lower left-hand corner, we have the scale bar. And as you zoom in and out, you can see that adjusts so that you can see the scale of the map that you're looking at. We also have a measuring tool, which hopefully will be useful. A big heads up though, the measuring is approximate. It is not survey accurate, so please do not use this for something that you really need to get a survey for. You can measure by lines or by polygons, so distance or area. For distance, you take the cursor onto the map and start clicking. After you begin, you can change the unit if you would rather get the measurement in feet, miles, whatever. Double click. This is always finicky. So sometimes when you double click, it will finish the drawing. And today, I guess it's not doing that. For the area, it is much the same, that you start clicking, and after clicking, then you can change this into square feet, acres, etc. We also have a overview map. So this tiny little arrow in the bottom right-hand corner, you can click to expand to see generally in the state where you are. This adjusts as you zoom in and out, but now you can see that you are looking in Hodgman County, Kansas. To make this collapse, you click the arrow again and it will disappear. We also have a coordinate tool, and you can see as you move your cursor around the map, the coordinates change. If you need to get the coordinates of a specific point, you click on this crosshairs tool and then click directly in the map. You'll see it drops a pin, and now the display are frozen at specific coordinates. You can click copy, and then you can paste those values into an email or document so that you have the coordinates in your copy paste functionality in your computer. To make the pin go away, click on this crosshairs icon again, and that will disappear. So now we can discuss some of the widgets, the tools that are on the toolbar on the right-hand side. So with our search tool, my biggest tip with the search tool, well, to backtrack, you can move the tools around, you can resize them as needed, you can collapse them, and so this is great so that you can adjust the map view and tools how you need. So with the search tool, I would highly recommend hitting this drop-down arrow and unchecking all the layers, and then only checking the layer that you want to specifically search for. So to demonstrate section township range, we'll check that, and then you can see a hint on how to search for section township range. I will be honest on this one, you do need to follow the format specifically in order for the search to work. So typing in these, and then you can start to see the suggestions. So let's say that we're looking for this particular one in range 2 west. You click on the suggestion and then the result, and then you will have the map jump to the area that you specified. I am also going to demonstrate looking for specific wells, but for this we will pull in a API from an existing well. Copy that. So for a specific well, if you want to find that, only select your oil and gas wells, paste in the value that you're looking for, or type it in. And that way you can jump to a specific well very, very quickly. Okay. And there we go. A warning on this, that if you select the option for the addresses and places, this is not a Kansas specific search. And so if you type in information for an address or place, it can take you anywhere in the world. So please be careful with that and understand that that's what that tool does. Our lat-long tool is excellent for obtaining coordinates for a specific address, and it also converts coordinates. So for example, we're going to enter in the address of the Kansas Geological Survey. The map zooms there, it drops a point on the location, and you can see that the address is displayed along with coordinates, degrees, decimal, minutes, degrees, minutes, seconds. And similar to the other coordinate tool, you can copy the values to paste in other locations. And another cool feature of this tool is that you can interact with the map by clicking a point. So we will click on the Add Point tool and click on the Lead Center here on the KU campus. It drops a point, and in many cases, if you click on a road center line, it will give you the suggested address of that location, and you can see the coordinates. Something else that you can do is input different coordinates. So let's say you are working with a research document that has coordinates in degrees, minutes, seconds, and you want to get the value of that in decimal degrees. You can change the settings, which is the gear, to degrees, minutes, seconds, adjust the format as necessary, and then you can input your degrees, minutes, seconds, and have those coordinates converted to other formats. Next up, we're going to discuss our filters. Filters are an excellent way to adjust the map to see what you want to see, especially if you're researching specific types of data. So we're going to move to a different part of the state that has a few more wells. We have a lot of pre-canned queries. So for example, wells with scanned e-logs, wells with LAS 3.0 files. And to turn these specific wells on, you click the toggle button on the side. And across these wells, they are cumulative. So as you're looking at these, let's say you decide to click two different. These are showing wells that have scanned e-logs and core. It is not or, it is and. So that's something important to remember as you are using these tools. We have other filters that require input from the user. So for example, if you want to see wells that have been spudded after a specific date, you will need to provide a specific date. So to do this, click on the button, and I would highly recommend instead of clicking through all the months, we have an easier way to work with this. If you click on the year or the month, a display shows up, and then you can specifically pick, the year 2000, jump to January 2000, and say, all right, show me all the wells spudded after January 1st, 2000. Enter that information. It will think a while. Please give it a moment. We have over 500,000 wells in the state of Kansas, and give it a couple seconds. It'll apply. So please remember to work with the dates by clicking on the year, clicking on the month, and that will make your experience much more pleasant to work with. Okay, we'll clear that. Oh, also, if you have multiple filters checked and you want to clear them all at once, the button down here in the bottom right corner is Reset All Filters. If you click that, all the settings in the tool will be put back to default. Next up, we have our Select/Buffer tool. From here, you can put a feature on the map and be able to select wells that are either inside that polygon, and you can also create a buffer to select features outside of that polygon. So for example, we will start with a rectangle with no buffer that you can, oh, it's a drag and drop. Let's clear that. Okay. So here's the rectangle that we're dragging. And when you click apply, it will select all the wells that are inside that rectangle specifically. We will clear that again. That's this button. And let's start looking at the buffers that are available. So if you simply need to buffer from a specific point, you can select this point feature and then say, all right, I want all the wells within 1 mile of this point. Click it on the map. There we go. It draws the feature, and then you can hit apply, and it will select all the features with a radius, within a radius of 1 mile. Okay, we'll clear this. Similarly, you can also be able to put a feature on the map, draw a polygon of some kind. Just please know that the buffer distance begins at the edge of the feature and not the centroid. So we'll put a circle here. You'll see the circle, and then the 500 feet begins from the edge of the feature. So that's something important to know of how this is being constructed. Okay, so from here you can see all the features of the wells that are in that area that you specified. You can look at the pop-ups of those features. And then with these 4 buttons or 4 dots in the corner, those are the actions that you can do with the data. You can zoom to, pan to, show on the map, and then you can also work on, there's a statistics, so you can see certain stats about those wells. For exporting the data, from here you can select options like JSON, GeoJSON, ArcGIS Online Item. The export to CSV doesn't currently work. And so the workaround is to select this option to view in table first. this opens our table widget. And from here, if you want to export as a CSV, you can see this oil and gas wells result. Click on actions again, and from there you can say export to CSV. You'll be prompted to do a download, and then you'll get the data that you are looking for. So since we're here, now is an excellent time to talk about the table. When you first open the tool, it will open a table with all of the oil and gas records. You can see this because in the lower left-hand corner, the total records over 500,000, the selected records are 0. You can explore the data as if it were a spreadsheet. From here, we have a few options. These deal with selected records that you can just look at selected records. You can clear selected, refresh. This is an excellent way to show and hide columns. We have a lot of data available, and if you're not interested in looking at all of the fields we have available, you can choose, for example, to remove the section township range information, things of that nature. Actions, you can choose many of the same things that you could with the select buffer tool. But please note, this is for all data. If you have a selection involved, let's see, we'll go through. Oh, we can't select from here. Oh, yes, selected one record. So please be aware if you are working on all of the data in the data set or just on selected records. We'll clear this. And this set filter button is a very powerful way if you need to filter the data by your own criteria and not by the pre-canned filters that we have in the filter widget. So with the set filter, this is the entire data set, all fields, and remember to toggle, actually we won't toggle that yet. We're going to add a clause, and from here you have access to all of the data. So you can say, the well status is oops, as that's populating. So let's say that you want to look at the well status that are approved intent to drill. I don't believe that we have that on the filters, but you can start experimenting with this to see data specifically that you want to look at. So that is an excellent capability that we have available. Let's go back to the select and clear this. Okay. From here, we can also work with our draw tool. The draw tool does not interact with the data or it interacts with the map by simply drawing features on the map. So if there's, for example, an area that you're working in that you want to highlight, you can start dropping points or polygons. You can select which sort of symbology you want to display and adjust the transparency. So for drawing a rectangle, that's what this tool does. You can also show area measurements. Let's say we want that in acres. This will be on, well, that's not even, there we go. Now it's displaying the acres of drawn polygons. To remove these, this is the clear all button, so you can remove those. We also have the ability to print. So from here, on the print tool, you can select the template that you want, landscape, portrait, lots of different options. You can give the map a title. I print. You can also show on the map where the printed area is. And then we can click print. You'll see that the results tab is thinking. From here, you'll see a list for that map session, what print layouts that you have generated. Once it generates, you can click on My Print and it opens a new tab. From here, you can save it as a PDF, print the document, whatever you need to do. If you have clicked the show print area, I would recommend that you uncheck that before closing the tool so that your map is not highlighted teal as you continue to do more activities. Next up, we have our bookmark tool. The bookmark tool creates snapshots of area and legend arrangements. So, you'll see here that I have changed the class 2 wells so it is above oil and gas wells, or if you have a transparency saved, certain layers checked on or off. The bookmark tool will save that if you have specific preferences. So for example, if we click on this bookmark that I have already saved, it will jump to the specific area and with the saved layer arrangements from that particular map session. If you would like to create a new bookmark, so you'll see here we have labels turned on, we have other wells that are displayed. I believe those are leases. So to create a different bookmark, move the area, you can click on this plus sign to add a bookmark. You can rename it. There is a bug. You cannot put spaces in the bookmark names. Bookmark name. And then if you need to delete a bookmark, you can push delete up here. This does not save data filters, so that is something to be aware of as you're working with this. Also, if you clear your map browser, it will clear your bookmarks. So that is also something to be aware of as you're working with this tool. You can change the base map of the map with the base map tool. So here we have a lot of base maps available that you can pick, things like dark gray canvas. These are all the data that are behind the map. So whatever is in the gray highlighted box, that is the current base map. The topographic, I believe, is our default base map that you can work with. So there's a lot of different options based on what you want to see. As another option, we have also added a completely blank white base map. And so if you want absolutely nothing behind, that is an option that is available. Just based on certain architecture things, we had to put that in the table of contents instead of inside the base map tool. We also have our last tool, which is the legend. And this changes automatically with what layers you have turned on in the map. So right now we have our leases on, but if we turn that off, it displays. If we turn our oil and gas wells on, then you can see what all of those symbols mean in the legend. Also, a few notes on our mobile version. The look and feel of the map will change as the screen size changes. So if I make my window much smaller, you'll see that the map automatically changes how it looks. It collapses the table of contents, but if you hit this caret, that will appear and disappear. So if you're working on a mobile device, things will just appear slightly differently. One bug that there is on here is that if you click on a pop-up, sometimes the X does not work. And so if you ever click on a pop-up and it is just not closing, click elsewhere on the map and the pop-up will disappear. So that is a tip and trick for working in the mobile versions. So again, I am Kristen Jordan Koenig, and if you have questions or need assistance with the map, we have excellent help documentation available on the help link. This will have a link to videos and descriptions of how to use tools. We also have about pages on both of the mappers with information about it. If you need to get information about the data that's in the maps or download data, you can do that. We also have Contact information. If you have questions about the data, please contact Data Resources Library, or if you have questions about the map viewer, you can contact me. We also have a suggestion form. If you have suggestions or updates about the mapper, you can submit information here. And I think that's pretty much it for today. So thank you for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions about the mapper.